2025. This is a work session of the School Board Trustees of School City of East Chicago. The time is 6:07. The place is the School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This is also being shown via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is the meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Roll call. Diane Smith is present. Mercedes Taylor.
Present.
Jesse Gomez. Present. Patty Gibson King, present. And Joel Rodriguez is not present. Okay, next I'll turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Stevens Bonet.
Good evening, School Board of Trustees. For tonight's work session, we have two presentations before our pre-board meeting. The first presentation is from our Director of Elementary Curriculum, Ms. Christina Gutierrez. And this also supports the Superintendent's Performance Goal number 4, which is around teacher retention. Ms. Gutierrez is going to present and share with the board our mentoring program. Okay.
Good evening, Superintendent Bonet, board, community, and staff. I'm here tonight to present our district teacher mentor plan for school year 25-26. The teacher mentor program was designed to provide guidance, support, and knowledge transfer, aiming to improve teacher performance and retention. This was a team effort. I did have a committee of 8 School City of East Chicago teachers join me in this effort. As you can see, we had representation across the district from high school, elementary, and middle school. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize those teachers who have volunteered their time to the creation of the program. This year, we've been working with our strategic district plan on creating a strategic plan. And so with that knowledge and experience, I was able to lead the committee on a collaborative design and a core purpose for our program, which in end resulted in the program's mission. So the Teacher Mentor Program's mission is to support, encourage, and inspire educators by fostering a welcoming and collaborative environment. Through mentorship, we aim to develop professional skills, improve instruction, and build confidence, ensuring success in the classroom. By cultivating a culture of continuous learning and excellence, we strive to retain passionate educators who make a lasting impact on their students and communities. Using the guiding principles from our mission, we then developed the top 5 goals for our program. The top 5 goals for our program consist of ensuring a rewarding and successful first-year teaching experience in order to retain quality educators in the profession, to provide a network of professional resources for incoming teachers to access information and receive training, to provide ongoing knowledge-based experiences between incoming teachers and mentors to improve teacher performance, and to promote a sense of community and teamwork in School City of East Chicago by providing opportunities to interact with other first-year teachers, district employees, and community members. And last but not least, the most important one is to ensure that the needs of all students are being met. A well-designed mentoring program, when it's planned out and implemented effectively, it will allow the program to create a sense of belonging for our teachers here at School City. So our goal is to aim to increase new teacher competence and confidence, strengthen instructional teacher capacity, build leadership skills, and engage in professional development. So our aim as the program is to make sure we're continuously building teacher capacity. For this part of the program, you have the handbook if you want to turn to specifically pages 5 and 6. Our program will run with a systematic approach of support to ensure the program's success. So on those pages, you will see the roles and responsibilities of individuals in the district that will be needed to support the program. They are defined as far as the mentor teacher, new teacher, principal and assistant principal, our human resource department, as well as our director of school improvement. The volunteer teachers, they serve as mentors who work under the following agreement. Mentor teachers agree to the following: to work collaboratively with their mentee, to complete all of the program requirements and responsibilities, to agree to attend all district meetings for trainings and program meetings, and if they come across experiencing difficulties, they will contact the coordinator to be reassigned or receive support. They also agree to at least a minimum of 1 hour per month to fulfill the 7 semester hours requirement. To support the teachers in a continuous manner, the district will provide twice-a-month meetings that will be used to review district goals, school goals, build rapport, and support teacher training on best practices. We have right now 14 meetings carved out specifically for our mentees, but we're going to add in the addition of 4 of those meetings, inviting the mentor to have a side-by-side meeting held at the district level. There is flexibility in the plan. So to allow our new teachers to have a local building support, we're asking the mentors to be able to meet with them on their own, at their own convenience, in their buildings, at their time and place, and they will get monthly mentor meetings with calendarized checklists to go over. If you turn in your handbook to page 13, from 13 on, you will notice that you'll see monthly calendar checklists. All of those are focused, intentional conversations and support that our teachers need throughout the year. So they're very specific to what's happening naturally in the school year. So August will have their talking points, and you'll go all the way down to June to have their specific talking points. We understand that being a mentor is a great commitment, and as a district, we want to support their willingness to participate in the program. So each mentor will be provided what's called mentor professional development. In those meetings, we're going to have 6 hours with the mentors where we'll be working with them on best practices and the development and how to be a strong mentor. We have earmarked May 30th as the first mentor meeting that will take place. The individuals that come out for the May 30th will be tagged as official SEEC mentors, and then they will be assigned a mentee in the fall. But every mentor must go through the 6 hours of professional development. The mentor training will include support on strategies for supporting educators. We'll be referencing the text Leading the Whole Teacher that will focus on positive relationships, decision-making, valuing the educator, and what our mentors can do to support teachers throughout the school year. On page 34, we'll be making sure that we empower our mentors with understanding the first year teaching phases. And so our mentors will go through each phase that a teacher naturally goes through, and we want to be proactive with understanding when our teachers first come out of college, what they think the real classroom is like may not live up to their expectation, but how we can anticipate the needed supports as the year goes on. Once again, I'm going to start in May training for next school year to have those mentors marked, but this official program will not be implemented until next school year, which is school year 25-26. We are striving to provide the best program and evaluation for our teachers. So we did create a survey, and that was provided to you also. As we go through our first year of the program, we will survey the stakeholders, that district leadership, building leadership, mentors and mentees, to make sure they give us feedback on the program. And that's why your handbook specifically says 25, 26, because this is not the end of the program. After we take that feedback next year, we will then revamp or revise the things to make the program better. So our goal as a district is to be able to provide support, continuous feedback, and relationships with new teachers through our program, leading to retaining the passionate educators, making a lasting impact on our students. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
There was a previous slide, right, I'm not there. What is Jim Knight?
So Jim Knight is a consultant we've used with our instructional coaches, and he specifically touches on something called being a good listener. And so he goes through protocols of what it is for a mentor to listen and not always have a solution, and walking through decision-making process. And so we'll be referencing his protocols with the mentor professional development.
Maybe somewhat along that line, is there like a 360 on this where the teachers will then, the new teachers can then provide feedback, maybe during or after their first year on their experience with this, and maybe just identify any gaps from their side of it. I understand from our side of it, people have been there, but what about getting feedback from the new teachers?
So part of our committee this year, I did include Ms. Campos, who's a first-year teacher with our district. And so we utilized her feedback as far as how she felt being here. But we are going to include them at the end of the year survey to get the mentees as well as the mentors' feedback.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I got a question too. Now, this mentoring program, when is it starting now?
We're going to start the training on May 30th to be prepared to launch it in the fall of '25. And if you notice, the checklist begins in August because there's a lot of conversations and things that need to happen to prepare the teacher to start the school year.
Okay, well, we just got this package, okay, and it's a lot to digest, and I did keep saying that we as a board, we need to have this information beforehand so we can ask the appropriate questions, because we find ourselves getting information the day of the presentation. So, so I would like for that to stop.
Well, if I could just add something, I understand your concern, but also understand this is still in draft form. I still have committee meetings. So part of this is me presenting and giving you time to digest it, and I absolutely want to hear your feedback so that as the committee, like I said, we can take that into consideration before it's official and Dr. Bernay plans to adopt it.
Yeah, okay, well, we don't know it's in draft form, okay,
just
but
have-
thank you. Okay, go ahead.
No
Go
problem.
ahead,
I just
Trustee
have
Smith.
one question, and it might sound kind of out of place, but this is just for new teachers?
Correct. We thought about that. I did have a conversation with Dr. Yanders, our assistant superintendent, and we do have a lot of resources and plans in place for teachers that maybe come to the district with already experience. We talked about how an instructional coach would be a little bit more appropriate than a new teacher plan. Then we talked about support for new needs improvement. What does that look like? So we don't want a cookie cutter program for everybody that comes new to East Chicago. We want to make sure that this specifically targets first year teachers.
One more thing. So will this program help some of the teachers that are seasoned? Can they be a part of this program?
That's a great question. I did host NTO, a new teacher orientation, twice a month right now with just the elementary. So we're now combining and making our mission stronger. And I always open it up. I give the topics ahead of time to the buildings and let them know that their teachers are more than welcome to come to any of the topics that they feel would help them with their professional development.
Thank you.
Okay, you got a question?
I just have a quick question. So for the mentors, they have to receive 6 hours of professional development. Are there any other criteria, like how long they've been a teacher or things of that nature?
I believe, I don't have a plan in front of me. I will reference a page for you. There is criteria. So if you turn to page 7 in your packet, I did create a
Which
mentor.
package? Which package? This one. Okay, because we don't have any page numbers.
What's the title on that page?
Yeah,
It is the mentor teacher job description. And it has a list of qualifications that must be met prior to being assigned to the professional development or receiving the badge. It's in the handbook.
okay.
Oh, that.
Yes,
Yeah.
page 7.
And this one right here.
It mentions in the qualifications being a licensed Indiana teacher with at least 3 years of experience. It mentions having to be rated effective or highly effective with our RISE criteria. It talks about being proficient in the classroom with management, organization, lesson planning, and implementation, being willing to communicate,
Page 7.
completing the 6-hour mentor, willing and enthusiastic. It must be also recommended and selected and approved by administrative team, and then must agree to abide, obviously, to all the expectations and guidelines in the program.
That's 7, right? Sorry.
Yes, it's fine.
Yes, 7. No, it's in that package.
Big one. The big one, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I would like to point out that we do have informally mentor teachers currently working with mentees right now. We're just working on being intentional with our efforts in our program and designing more of a systematic approach to new teacher mentor programs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that it? Jesse? Guess Jesse's finished. Okay, Dr. Burnett?
Okay, so we can begin with our next agenda item, which is the pre-board meeting. Dr. Hutchings will have to join us at 7 o'clock. He'll still be joining us virtually, and then we will pause when he's available, and then we will pick up with the pre-board meeting. Are we ready to go over the agenda for tomorrow, April 10th, regular session of the school board meeting? All right. Questions regarding the claim docket under the consent agenda or any consent agenda items?
Let's see here.
I have a list of some items for the claim docket before I'm there now.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Page 2, check 117465.
Page 2.
Yes.
Can you repeat the check number?
Yeah, 117465.
465.
Page 2.
That is a referee for for elementary.
Page 14. 117560.
117560.
That is a per diem for a conference that was attended.
Let's see, 560. Huh? But where is this at? Oh, yeah. 110567.
How many days was that for?
What was that for?
That was for Friday, Saturday, and coming back on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, she was with us.
Page 20, 117500.
Page 20, 117500, he said,
20?
yeah. Where's this 117?
That was for executive session.
Oh, yeah. This was for an exec session. We all was in an exec session, right?
Correct.
Page 27.
Okay.
There's a list that, they're all related to worker comp. I just have a question on, getting some feedback on how much are we paying out for worker comp? That seems to be a lot of money that we're paying out. I'm not aware of any of these claims.
So the first claim is, I do believe, for two employees that slid on some ice, either at Central or one of the elementaries. And these are the normal, probably about the normal ranges of our workman's comp that we pay. And we pay them, we get it invoice every week.
So these will be recurring claims?
Yeah, they are recurring claims.
What are we doing on that end to, negate some of these issues we're having? It seems like a lot of money we're throwing at workers' comp claims.
Madam President, if I could.
Yeah, oh, yes, 1 minute, Jesse, we're gonna get the floor to attorney.
So I think that it's difficult for you all as board members to look at an item like this, the workers' comp entry you see on the claims list and really know what it is for and what it covers. Because sometimes, from what I've seen, not just this claims docket, but others, you may see an amount there that's for premium payments, and you may also see numbers there that are for workers' comp benefits that are being paid. Unless you know what period of time those payments cover, you don't really have any context, right, to know, like, the item, the first one on page 28 is for $12,971.50. You don't know what period of time that covers necessarily. I think that might be, I think it might be helpful, so you know, is that a big number, is it a small number? That might be helpful, so maybe I can work with, Ms. Simmons to give you a report so that it outlines a little bit more of the status of workers' comp matters. And, obviously we can work with Ms. Jenkins as well and provide that on a kind of a regular basis. Maybe something quarterly on all workers' comp matters.
That might be helpful because it's easy enough to pay the claims out, but what are we doing to try to, minimize our loss here?
We'll work on that.
Thank you. Next one I have is on page 29. It's check 4228 DD.
Yes, that's a direct deposit for our labor attorney.
What is that now, 822?
What did you say?
No, that ain't none of the labor, that's his wife. No, that's his wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. All I seen was the last name.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
that is a special ed, speech pathologist.
On, page 36, 117635.
117635.
Yes, this is
Yes.
for, disposable of medical.
117635.
Yeah, and this is the one I'm in the processes of working with Attorney Harris' office to cancel. It's a contract that was signed prior to me getting here.
And it's been that as
Okay,
long since
and-
you've been here?
Is that basically like for, disposable,
Yep,
yeah, okay,
yep, disposable, anything like
Yep.
waste.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I thought it was.
Mhm.
Same page, 4219 DD,
Yeah.
and it's 4227 DD.
Yes. That is the contract that we have with Mr. Lopez that we have had since 2018, I do believe.
That's just for regular maintenance of the pool.
Yes.
And
And
did you
also
mention at previous
also-
time that he does additional work?
Yes, he also does additional work with the HVAC units.
Okay. On page 39, we got three more. Page 39, check 117567.
What page?
Page 39, 117567.
117, what now? 5.
It's Amazon. That is just supplies throughout the district. That could have been, either special ed, that could have been the administration building, that could have been some other school in the district. It looks like these are mostly the IT ones. We just bought 8, telephones to put in our elevators, to bring our elevators up to code. We also purchased the Fire Sticks to bring our, which one? Digital signage.
I think the reason I noted that is Amazon Capital Services. Who are they?
I'm sorry? I didn't understand.
Amazon Capital Services. I believe that's the name of the company. I can't see it's cut off.
That's Amazon. That's just the actual W-9's name.
But this is the Amazon as we know it, the big box, right?
Yes, the Amazon. Mhm.
Okay, yeah. The question I have, and this has been on my mind for a while, I keep forgetting to bring it up though. I know there's a balance between, the saving, cost and also supporting local businesses. How are we managing or, dealing with, that, those two issues? Are we just running to Amazon for everything is, I guess, my question.
We only order through Amazon for supplies that we cannot get from a local business. Most of it is office supplies, anything that's ordered too much through Amazon. Then we might do the specialties, for special ed for their new job venture that they have at Central High School. So no, Amazon is not a permanent order here in the district.
I bring it up because on page 443, check 117612. I know I brought it up a number of times, you know, we have a hardware store here in town.
So,
I don't ever recall seeing them on their claim docket.
okay, so, per our Teamsters and Crafts, they work with this particular hardware company. They have went to the one locally, and a lot of the things that they want is not there. So that's the reason why they deal with this particular one.
Previous page 42. I only have two more. 117586.
Yes, that was the last payment for that service to be in the district.
Yeah.
That was the cleaning service.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
And the last one I have is page 48, 117592.
Page 48.
48, 117592.
That is,
Okay.
I'm not pretty sure, it is an office supply. Do you have the details of that invoice in your, invoices? It looked like it might be something that, special ed might have ordered also. Cause it's under 325, so I think it might be something that, so yeah, the details of that one should, hopefully it's in your invoices. If not, I can get you
Okay.
the total, the copy
Yeah,
of it.
if you don't mind sharing that, I appreciate it. That's
Okay.
all I have. Thank you.
Was that it, Mr. Gomez?
That's it for me. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Did y'all not get we send the invoices over? We have not sent the invoices over. Okay, I will make sure, when I sit down, I'll send them over to you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Page 44, check number 117623.
47, 117.
The last item on page 44.
44 what?
Page 44, check number 117623 is the last item on page 44.
Our, Ford 150 mirrors were damaged, and they replaced them.
Is it more than more than one vehicle?
No, it was two mirrors.
Two mirrors? Is that the same vehicle on page 46, check number 117636? Or is that even a vehicle at all?
Can you repeat the check number for me?
117636. I don't even know if it's vehicle related. I just saw door.
On page. what
No,
page
that's
is
the
that?
door at the high school and the
Okay.
gym that was repaired.
Gotcha.
The garage door that was in there, in the gym.
Okay. That's all I had.
Trustee Smith?
I didn't know we had to pay city taxes.
No, that
looking
is
at-
for our license for all of our cafeterias. Is it $700? It's 700? Yeah, that's for our license for all our cafeterias. There's $100 per cafeteria. Okay,
Thank you.
Yes, I have one here on page 13. I just want to, I think I know what this is for, but you can let me know for sure, because of the dates. The number it's on page 13. 117456.
It's due to the fact that the invoice got buried in emails, and that's the reason why it's being paid late.
But
It was
didn't
for
have-
the, it
but-
was for the event in December.
Right, this was the,
Yes.
okay, that's what I want to
Yeah.
know because of the date that's here.
Yes, it was just the invoice got buried in emails, and once we found it, we pushed it through.
So, the one, about the pools. I'm trying to find out what page that was on.
Um,
Oh, they didn't take them off, they still on.
I had a question about that too.
Yeah, they
the
still on.
direct deposits,
No,
that
the
nine,
pool. No,
oh,
The
okay.
contract, is it the contract?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a contract, it's a person.
So
Pardon?
is it paid for every time he does a service, or is it?
No, it's paid every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks? Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So my understanding was this here, what page is that on?
I can't remember. It would be, it's paid out of 030, so 1 second, let me find 030.
Ricardo Lopez.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. Mr. Gomez, do you remember which page, the direct deposit was on for our pool contractor?
For which contractor?
The pool contractor,
Yes, that was on page 36.
36, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's on page 36.
Okay, so, what school is these pools at?
We got school, pools at all the schools,
Yeah,
but
but
this
which one is-
particular
yeah.
one that he worked on and worked with
Mm-hmm.
probably was at Central. Central is the only live pool that we have right now.
That's working, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes, that's, so,
So that would be the only one. Like I said, he also helps out with anything
I ain't
HVAC.
asking about that. I just
Okay.
asking what I see right here, pool. I ain't asking about nothing additional.
Okay,
And it's my understanding that, this was gonna be kind of like, Dr. Bonet, what you say this was gonna happen with this?
We were supposed to end Ricardo Lopez's contract. so.
Yes. Okay, that's what I want to hear. Mhm. Okay, one other thing on here. Let's see here. I'll address this tomorrow, once I find it tomorrow.
okay.
Anybody else got any questions? Okay, okay, Dr. Burnett?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Simmons. Okay. Any other items for the consent agenda before we move to the new business items? If there are no questions regarding donations or fundraisers, we'll move to item 6.01, the personnel report. Questions regarding the personnel report?
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Harris, I do have one question regarding procedure. So there is an MOU that needs to be added. It can be added at the beginning of the meeting tomorrow. It is to address, and I don't have the sequence number. Hold on for 1 minute. It is to address personnel report item on page 13, item 90, under ancillary duties.
Page, what page?
So on page 13, it's not in that one. It's on the one that's posted on the website. Page 90, I'm sorry, page 9, page 13, item 90. It is an MOU between the Teachers Union, AFT, and the school city for an MOU to cover additional duties for a teacher. If there's additional questions regarding the board, Human Resources is available.
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So is it the union that's requesting that it be done via MOU as opposed to,
Correct.
okay, and have they presented us with the MOU?
They have.
So you'll be distributing,
Yeah, but we don't have it.
so back to your question, you had a procedural question or what?
Procedural question.
So, it would be a motion to amend the agenda to add the MOU for approval, and probably want to do it. Yeah, you'll do it at the beginning of the meeting to add, gonna impact the personnel report, then you probably wanna get the MOU.
Correct.
So I know normally that would be first, but I think in this instance, have a reason to approve.
Thank you.
And then either way, if for some reason, then we'd have to deal with what's on the personnel report and remove something if that.
Okay. Thank you.
So this was something that's supposed to have been in their contract and they're amending it? Is that what this is?
No. So I'm going to ask Human Resources, either Dr. McJunkins, to come and address this issue or give the board context.
Did you get a copy, Diane? You got a copy? Okay,
Yeah, I have one.
all right.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
So the MOU was created because there's language in the teacher's contract on how much teachers are being paid that cover in the absence of a regular teacher. And these particular teachers who cover for absent teachers, so we have subs that cover, but the subs don't do the grading, they don't do the lesson plans, they don't do the preparation of the assignments, they do not, run copies and so forth. So in the CBA, the regular teachers take on those responsibilities. They get $60 per day to do those responsibilities. However, our middle school and secondary schools, it runs a little different than our elementary schools. As you know, club courses are taught by content area. So if we have someone in the absence of a teacher who's missing, say for instance, a death of a teacher or something, we can either place multiple teachers to pick up different courses. If that teacher taught 3 courses, we might have 3 different teachers. Or we might end up with 1 teacher to teach all of them. So the language is added, the MOU is added so that it addresses the middle school and the high school. So that teacher that's doing the coverage, that's doing all the planning and so forth, would get the $60 per course, but not to exceed $120 per day, which is basically the equivalent of what is already in the contract. But and then it's still at the superintendent's discretion, because you do have some classes, for instance, like CTE classes. If a teacher is absent from a CTE class and that teacher teaches 4 courses, 5 courses, that's planning for each course. So the MOU was, had to go back and readdress that situation for our secondary level teachers.
When did you get this, Dr. Renee?
Repeat the question.
When did you receive this?
The MOU?
Yes.
The union gave it to us today as official copy. It's been going back and forth.
Any further questions?
I don't know, anybody from the board have any questions?
Oh, not really. So so this is 2024-25, and the collective bargaining agreement, they all agree to this?
So the teachers union has agreed to it, so this is their draft. We reviewed it, gave feedback,
Okay.
and then, so now it needs to be approved by the board in order for the teacher to have received additional compensation.
Oh, thank you.
But their CBA was already approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this just was not added in there, right?
Correct,
What you
because
have.
it
But you
wasn't
just got this today, right?
the final year, their final submission. What has happened is there have been some instances where, like, we recently had a death, and a number of teachers had to fill in to take those courses, pick up those courses. We've had other situations where a teacher just left suddenly. Somebody had to fill in to pick up those courses, but subs are not required to do lesson plan, especially on long-term assignments. They're not required to do lesson planning and grading and all this and that. So our teachers jump in to take on those responsibilities, and we have to compensate them. So this got created because of a sudden situation, and somebody has jumped in to cover those courses.
Oh, yeah, but was they getting paid already to cover the courses?
The person has been doing it and no, has not received compensation yet.
Oh, you say yet?
Only upon board approval. So actually, no, they're not being paid to do this. They're just doing it for now, hoping that it will be approved by the board.
Any more questions from the board? Okay, Dr. Bonet?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. McJunkins, Mr. Guardiola. Okay. We see that Dr. Hutchings has joined us. We were paused. We can pause going over the agenda item if we have no other questions for 6.02 after.
Stay on this 6.01.
Oh, we're still on 6.01.
Okay. So you're gonna tune into
Dr. Hudson.
Dr.
And
Hudson
then we'll
now?
go back.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
So we're still on
Yes, we're still
6.01.
on the personnel report. He's gonna tune into Mr. Hutchinson now.
Are we ready? Good evening, Dr. Hutchings.
Hello, everybody. How are you all? How's it going?
Hi, good evening. How you doing?
Long time no see, right? Hold on, let me just pull up. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Can we make it bigger?
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you all for allowing me to come and join you during your work session today. We have been quite busy working with your team. It was such a pleasure, one, to be with you all last month, as well as to have some time with the strategic planning team. And there was a lot of, I'm sorry, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There was a lot of feedback and insight that we were able to get from the actual strategic planning committee. And I'm hearing like an echo. Let me see. Let me mute Jesse. Okay, is that better? I think I can hear myself better now. So there was a lot of feedback and insight that we got from the strategic planning team as well as from you all. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for that. I also today am going to just provide you with some of the findings. I want to make sure that for this particular session that I'm just recording my piece that I'm speaking to because I want to make sure I have my notes.
This meeting is being recorded.
I don't know if you also record, but it's important for me to have kind of the transcript from today, just to make sure I have any feedback you all give and it's accurate. But I'm going to go right into what we're going to be discussing today. So first and foremost, I want to present with you updated mission, vision, and core value drafts that have been prepared based on the feedback that we got from you all last month, as well as insight and feedback from the Strategic Planning Committee that consists of community members, staff members, leaders, the superintendent, 2 board members were also in attendance at that session last month as well. I want to share the process as well as the stakeholder input for everyone. I also am going to provide some comparisons to the original statements that we had, because we did have our original statements that were done. And then I want to prepare the board for feedback and finalization of this, because I will be back in the school city of East Chicago on Monday, and we will be with the Strategic Planning Committee, and I want to be able to share some of this information with them so that we can begin to start solidifying the core values, the mission, vision, and working towards some goals for next month. So just to rehash, this is the timeline that we've been working with. We are right now defining the mission, the vision, the core values. We've conducted all of our focus groups. We just finished our final focus group this week with our Spanish-speaking families, which was great. There is a report that you all should have. If you haven't gotten it already, you should have it really soon, or it should be shared with you really soon with some of the findings from that. And this month, we're going to start to work on areas of focus and strategic goals and theories of action. So we're looking forward to working through that. It's just a reiteration of the timeline. I want to take us back to the original mission and vision statement. So we worked last month, and you all had mentioned even last month that you know of that there is a mission and vision statement, but you don't feel that it's being used, off in regards to making decisions in the school district. But these are the originals, and what I want to be able to share with you all is based on the feedback and the input. We have some drafts that we're going to go through, today. So I want to start with the revised mission statement. So, one thing that, I was really excited about was being able to hear from all of the different stakeholder groups. They were not, shy at all, very vocal into, their input and insight. And one thing that I think was very important for you all to know is the fact that when we had our session last month, a lot of the committee members, and it was similar to some of the things that you all mentioned as board members, was that they wanted to have clarity and brevity. We wanted to be really intentional in regards to, the mission statement. And we also wanted to make sure we were thinking about the whole child and the whole child development piece. There were conversations around embedding equity and community partnerships that also came up. And these were things that I wanted to make sure that we captured into some of these. One thing I think is important to express, and I just had this conversation with one of my other clients around the term equity. Right now, many school districts are kind of grappling with that word in particular: diversity, equity, inclusion, right? I know many people are now having to sign contracts and agreements in regards to those words. One of my clients in the state, the whole DEI term was banned for the state. Now it's against the law to even use the word in that state. So I think it's going to be important as we're thinking through some of these drafts that we are, considering language. Right? We want to continue to take action. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not telling anybody to stop with their actions. But I think it is important if there are some parameters that have been set, which I know in Illinois there have been some conversations around words equity, diversity, as well as an inclusion, that we just be mindful of as you all are thinking to adopt some of these. But the first draft of our revised mission, based on the feedback that you all have given and the committee, is that the school city of East Chicago intentionally educates and empowers every student with purpose for success in college, career, and civic life. This is important because remember, our mission is around what we do today. So it may not be what you all were doing yesterday, but once it's adopted, this is going to be the expectation of how everybody operates within the school system. Draft 2 is around we intentionally prepare every student to thrive socially, emotionally, and academically through aligned instruction, equity, and purposeful community partnership. So what we've done is we've taken kind of the feedback, from the original mission, and we incorporated it to provide these 2 drafts that is hopefully giving some of the clarity, the brevity, the intentionality that you all were really adamant about when we met last month. So I want to stop here. I want you all to take some time to just read through these 2 drafts. And then we're going to open the floor for some discussion because this is a work session. So I want to be able to have an opportunity to discuss. How do we want to open the floor for any comments or conversation?
Oh, Trustee Gomez. Yeah,
Jesse, are you there?
Yeah. Have to unmute.
Let me see. I have to unmute. All right.
Okay, I was just saying that I'm more comfortable with what we have currently. Neither one of these strike a chord with me. It looks like you threw in the intention and purpose in both of these statements for some reason. Neither one of these strike a chord with me.
Yeah, so at the session, there were conversations around the importance of including intentionality and purpose. This was a discussion at the at the committee meeting. So I wanted to make sure I tried to capture some of that came out of those discussions. Any other comments?
Study it a little more.
She said she got to study it a little more. So this feedback was from the community. Where did the feedback come from? I know some.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Pardon?
I'm sorry,
Did
can you
get
repeat what you said?
the feedback, was some of this from the community, or who all was involved in the feedback here?
Yeah, so this came from strategic planning committee, what this did our staff, there were parents, there were leaders. This was from feedback from the strategic planning committee.
Hey, students.
Yes. Oh, well, you know, I have my hand.
So how involved were the students? I mean, did they ask you a lot of questions and give you feedback on what they want, expect?
We had a student who was involved in the actual strategic planning committee, but we heard from many of their students in the focus groups that were held prior to, and they were very not adamant, but they were very vocal around the importance of feeling inclusive within the school. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to review the focus group report, but a part of it, if you look under that section specifically, around the students, you will be able to see some of the detailed findings that came out of that. And we did focus groups at the high school. We also did it at the middle school and the elementary school in regards to their staff. But I think it is going to be for you to reference some of the high school focus group comments, because they were pretty explicit around what they felt they needed to see. Many students had talked about the fact that, and I'm just pulling up the document right now, that some students, they felt that it was hard to learn when other kids were being disruptive in classrooms. And, some students were talking about the need to have counselor support within their schools. They talked about being prepared for college and career, and making sure that they have those appropriate courses and things of that nature. So all of these factors were put into consideration when developing these mission and vision statements. But I think it would be helpful for you all to take some time to review the report from the middle school, as well as the report from the high school student focus groups, because you'll see just some of their comments and some of the findings that came out of that. What you all are thinking about, a part of our conversation last month was we have a mission and vision, right? So you're not starting from from scratch. The goal was to bring back the original mission statements that we have, as well as to provide you all with two drafts that you can consider. But if you weren't utilizing the mission, statement initially in regards to the original mission statement, I don't know if the community was aware of even the original mission statement. So it may be that now you want to try to live up to the original mission statement that you all had in place. Or you may choose to do something differently, but this is kind of what this opportunity now is to discuss, hey, do we want to continue to uphold the original mission and try to stay true to that? Or do we want to incorporate some of the feedback that we received about the original mission and make updates?
Well, I'd just like to say I appreciate the fact that you included the bilingual family focus group report. That was very important. Thank you.
Go ahead on.
You can continue, Dr. Hutchings.
We're going to keep going to the vision.
Yes.
So the next is around the revised vision statement. And this is very similar in regards to the strategy that we had here, We took the original vision and we used kind of some of the feedback that came not only from the focus groups but also from the strategic planning committee. And a lot of that, a lot of the feedback was around making sure that we were looking ahead and looking beyond. Remember, our vision is around where we hope to be over the next 5 years. A lot of the community members as well as the staff, they had mentioned the importance of community collaboration and that shared responsibility, so that all the responsibility is just not on the student or on the families, but that it is shared amongst the students as well as the educators. And then trying to make it more actionable language was something else that came out of the conversations with the strategic planning committee. So what we did with that is we wanted to take the original with those things in consideration. The first draft was every school in East Chicago will be a center of equity, excellence, and innovation led by empowered students and motivated educators. The second draft is around the school city of East Chicago will be inclusive communities where families, educators, and students work together for student success. So this was a way to try to once again make it so that it's not too long, but to incorporate that whole future focused, student centered collaboration piece that came out of those discussions. So what were the comments that you all might have around the drafts or the original? And just to give you some more insight, and I'm going to pull this from the actual report, when we spoke with, our strategic planning committee, many had talked about addressing the district's fragmented structure, meaning that many schools are working in silos and not working collaboratively. People are kind of doing what they want to do within their own buildings. Combining innovation and excellence with a firm grounding in equity came out of some of the conversations from the strategic planning committee. A simplified structure for broader community understanding, reflecting the desire for shared responsibility and stronger school community collaboration. And then finally, it's a theme that came out of this conversation was around maintaining student-centered language with a focus on achievement. But this is how, we developed these drafts, really just based off of the feedback that we got from the different stakeholders in those groups and the activities that we did to get that information.
If I can, I go back to the mission real quick. I know.
Okay.
I almost feel like, on the mission statement, we're missing kind of, bless you, we're missing kind of like the how. I don't know if it's just stating what, but not like how. I don't know. It's like, I like what it entails, but I just feel like it's very superficial, very high level. I don't know if I'm making sense on what I'm saying. That's just my thought on the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very very high level. I was just going back to the mission statement of the teacher mentor program that was presented. That was a very great mission statement, and there was a lot of like hows in there that was not, that I don't see reflected here. On the vision statement, I almost feel like they need to be combined. I don't know if,
Yeah, and when you say combined, what do you think that would be helpful? Is it the language, certain language that should be combined? What is it that you feel would, should be combined out of the two drafts if you were to combine them? What specific words?
so we have every school in East Chicago will be a center of in draft one. Then in draft two, we have the school city of East Chicago, which represents every school in East Chicago. Center of Excellence. Equity and Innovation. I don't know.
Yeah, this is, like you said, the how is not there, how this is all gonna come together.
Every school, yeah, I don't like the every.
'Cause we already.
And some of the how can also come out in the goals. When you start talking about your strategic goals, that's where you're going to see more of the how, as well as the what, because that's going to come into the action steps that you'll see as well. But, if you can give me some more insight to when you say you would like to see the how, can you give me some language to what you would like to see added or taken out?
I think it will
So,
probably
for
help me
example-
more if I go,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I think it'll probably help me a little bit more if I go back to the reports and then read this again. Kind of
Yeah.
see how, if I could connect it better.
Yeah, I think that because it would be helpful too. What you'll also see, what we provided in the report, you'll see kind of like how it reflects the feedback. So you'll be able to see that too for each draft. So you can kind of tie back to how we came to some of the language.
Yeah.
I think that would, for you as well.
I think that would
And then
be-
also just some of the insights that came out of the session too. There's a section that gives some key insights that might be helpful for you too.
Yep, I agree. Get the report again. I was trying to look it up. I keep pulling up the Spanish one.
It's the most recent.
The most recent, okay.
Do you all, Dr. Bornay, do you have copies that you might be able to? Do you want me to send that to you right now? You may have access to it quickly, but I can also send it to you if you need to.
Yes, I'm just going to refresh our board members' memory and say they were most recently sent in our weekly update. And then we did have some
Okay.
hard copies. So you probably have.
Yes.
Told me I had a hard copy a minute ago. I mean, of course, for the sake of time,
Rather
I'm saying
than
read
try-
the report, but.
Jesse.
Oh, say it again, trustee Gomez.
No, it seems like we're stuck right now and we're missing a board member. Maybe we should just move on, come back to this when we have a full board and have more time to review this. I was under the assumption this is just a presentation. I think we can provide feedback another time.
Under the assumption that this is just a presentation.
Oh, just a presentation.
Yes.
So do you all have a way that you could potentially kind of review and maybe provide feedback, whether it is electronically or you can provide a way for the two board members who are part of the strategic planning committee, that maybe they can come hear some of this in the meeting next week as well? Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, I could work with him, but he's the one that's missing today.
Yeah, that's Joel.
Behalf of the
He's
board.
not here.
Yes,
Yeah, Joel's the one that's missing today.
Be real good.
there we go.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
I'm sorry, that's a good idea you just suggested, but Joel's the one that's missing today. And he's the one that's,
Oh, got it.
yeah, he's the one on it with me. So, yeah.
So what we could also do is we can send this information to him as well. So then he can also kind of peruse it and start thinking about some things he may want to include as well when we meet next week. But for all the members who were there, if they could review the report as well as the presentation from today, which is it's all out of the report, so it's all aligned. If you just review the reports and provide some feedback that way, the board representatives can share with the entire strategic planning committee next week. I think that would be helpful too.
Okay.
I think that would be, because we do have two
Yeah,
people that have.
and what you would be doing is speaking on behalf of the board, so you can have everybody, all board members will have an opportunity to provide some insight and feedback. But the two board representatives that were selected to be a part of the strategic planning committee will share on behalf of the board some of the feedback and insight.
I could do that.
What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, we'd like to do that.
Okay. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to just go through this final section in regards to core values, and then we'll do the same thing for you all to review the report on here. This is just kind of giving you an intro to what the report will share with you. But just to reiterate what core values are, this is kind of our beliefs in action. And it really is the foundation of how you all are going to make decisions as a school system. Currently, there aren't core values that are in place. So we're providing you with some drafts based on the work we did last month, with regards to, the core values. But we want to make sure that we're supporting, instruction and leadership and family and community engagement. But it is all aligned with what we talked about. And these were the specific areas that we focused on. We talked about high quality instruction. The board said equity was another key core value. Resources was another area. Accountability, and then faith was the other specific area that you all had discussed during that time. What we did was we allowed for our strategic planning committee members to chime in and provide what those specific core values meant to them, as well as ranking them based on how they felt they were, how they felt they should be ranked in regards to importance for the board. High quality instruction was ranked at number 1 from all of the participants. We had a total of 17 of our participants from the strategic planning committee who actually responded, which was a good number of respondents from the group. but they ranked high quality instruction as number one. Equity came at number two. Resources was ranked at number three. Accountability was ranked at number four. And faith came in ranked at number five. But one thing that came up in regards to faith was the respondents had shared that we may want to consider thinking about using a term like integrity or purpose, just because many people in the community, some people may relate faith to religion, and they wanted folks to not lose kind of the meaning of what you all were specifically trying to refer to, because people are saying, what are they trying to be, a religious organization? Because now they're bringing faith, even though that wasn't your intent. That could be some of the stakeholders' kind of reactions and responses. So what some of the respondents have mentioned was considering to change to maybe integrity or purpose, which can also fulfill what the board had originally discussed. These are kind of the core values that came out of the discussion. I'm sorry, not just the discussion, but the survey that was done by the committee members. So they, we kept the equity piece. Out of that, inclusion also came out of from the stakeholders who participated. So we tried to put together equity and inclusion, but it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. We want to make sure that equity is a term that you want to use, right? Many people are moving away from using the term equity and using things like cultural responsiveness or belonging. These are different terms that I know other districts are using. That's a decision that you all are going to need to determine if you want to continue to keep equity as one of your core values. I mean, that was what the board said last month, that that's where you want it to be. But I wanted to at least kind of put out there that it's something you may want to consider in regards to terminology being used. High quality, which was the other core value area, and what we've added to that is what high quality means is that it's rigorous, that it's relevant teaching for college, for career, and for life, because all students may not go to college. So we want to make sure that students who choose not to go down that path, they still have the instruction and the preparation to have some form of a career or some form of life when they leave, the school system. Access to resources is another core value area, and specifically what the group provided feedback on was making sure that that incorporated social, emotional, academic, and digital supports. And that was, they wanted to make sure they were defining what those resources were in regards to the core values. Integrity and accountability was the place where they're trying to add in kind of when we talked about faith, making sure that we're being transparent, making sure that we have shared responsibility, following through is another area that was important. And then service and purpose was the final area, which is making sure that, we're leading with compassion. This is taking that term faith out of the picture, leading with compassion and belief that every child has the potential and can learn. So these are kind of the draft this is the draft core values statement based on the specific core values that you all identified last month in our work session. And what we've added was some language to define what those core values you all shared last month with the team on. So just to get some, I think we can do the same thing as we're doing with our mission and vision statement and have you all kind of review this as well as review the report for the core values statement and provide feedback that way. So then next week, when we are at our strategic planning committee meeting, that the two board representatives can speak on behalf of the board with regards to some feedback to some of these drafts. And we can also hear from, some of the committee members too. And then, the final thing here is kind of what we heard. And I mentioned just earlier that Faith it should be reframed to integrity, to purpose, for inclusivity. These are just some of the things that came out of some of the feedback. Elevating instruction, elevating equity, making sure that their access are top priorities, for the district and for students. Embedding real language from stakeholder feedback. That was something that many of the stakeholders mentioned. They said that one in particular member said they wanted to ensure that the board was taking into consideration what constituents are saying, and that they want to not just have their input be rubber stamped, or input not being used, and that they're giving this time and energy, but it's not really being applied. And then they also talked about creating a unified message that will be aligned with the district's strategic plan. So these were just some of the things that we heard from our initial meeting with the strategic planning committee, and also some of the things that came out of the focus groups that we had. And that's it, in regards to our presentation and the information. I think that, it would be a good strategy for us to, for board members to kind of take the reports, read through them, take notes and write down feedback, share that, with the board, president or the superintendent, whatever, process you all want to do for that. And then have the two school board representatives who are part of the strategic planning committee next week when we meet, that you are kind of speaking on behalf of the board to share just insight from that session.
And thank you, Dr. Hutchings.
Thank you, Dr. Hutchins.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Well, the board members who will be in attendance next week. I look forward to seeing you too next Monday.
Monday the 14th, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Yes.
Can you put us back as the host?
Yes. I'll make Jeremy
Yes, please.
Jeremy Torres. Yes, I will do that. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And also let me also have my note taker log off. So let me put that on here really quickly. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we can resume with the pre-board items. We are still on item 6.1.
Any question from the board? We're on the personnel report. It's been revised.
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Trustee Gomez.
Excuse me, I'm trying to get back to my agenda. Hold on.
No, he said he
It's my understanding that the page 3, that the board has not come to a decision on salaries. So I would suggest that we remove that, items 4 and 5, until the board's had time to review those.
Any questions? Any, okay, no questions. I have a question that I want to speak to. It's on page 3. We were scheduled to have an exec session for, I believe it was for April the 17th, to further discuss what's here on page 3. There was also an additional item that was there, and there was some concern about that item, but that item was removed. I'm waiting for Dr. Bonet to give me a copy of this. I just learned today that he says that this had already been approved on the personnel report. I'd like to have a copy of that personnel report to show where we had approved this. I think we was trying to find it, right, Dr. Bonet, today?
Yes,
But we
January
did-
28th personnel report.
Yeah, but we didn't find it. I don't see that on the personnel report for January 28th. So we've already approved it. You say, I don't know why we approving it again. And like I said, this is going to be some further discussion about what's here on page 3. And then also, some discussion was made today about a secondary educator, someone that we've not had for a while. And I know that there was a position posted. It's my understanding that people have applied, but no interviews. So I don't think the board want to find ourselves having that position when it's already included in somebody else's job description. Then we find ourselves not getting a secondary education because it was told to the board that there was no money. And the same thing with a position that has been posted for a good while. I don't want to call the individual's name, but I know that that one individual is the director, and that person has been interviewed. It's my understanding that there was one other person that was interviewed, but the positions, the interviews has not been taking place for whatever the reason. So Dr. Bonet's concern was today, he does not want to have to, he wants to move forward. And that's what we want to, as a board wants to do, because 6 months of time has been wasted, but not with me being the president. It has been wasted. So we want to find ourselves moving forward in the right direction that I see this board going forward with. So we will have an exec session, April the 17th, to further discuss what's on page 3 and further discuss some other things that maybe some other options can be made here, Dr. Bonet.
Thank you, President Gibson King.
And
I
then
have
there's,
one other item on page 9. I'm unclear on those 2 items.
page 9.
Yes.
What's your question, Trustee Gomez?
I have no idea what this is about.
Okay, Dr.
You know,
Bonet.
we've gone through, months of basketball, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
we're just now getting this after the fact. I really don't like dealing with things after the fact, but I'd like to hear the explanation for this one.
I'll have our Human Resources Office address the issue. Oh, boy.
Mr. Guardiola can speak to that, and that is based on, oh, okay.
Okay. Coach Gordon had to let go of one of the assistant coaches, so he had to rearrange the coaches. Yeah, that's all he explained to us, was that he had to let go of one and then reposition the coaches that he had.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'd like to make
Yes.
a statement about this personnel report.
Yes, please, Ms. Smith.
On page, page am I on? Page is that on? Give me a few seconds. The page that we want to table to the 17th.
No, we're not tabling it.
I mean, not, we want to discuss
No,
it to
we're
the
not gonna table
17th.
that. No, yeah.
Okay. I just kind of
That's on
want,
page 3, Ms. Smith.
page 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I have it now. I just want to say, after the 17th, we should be able to come up with a decision. From my past experience on the board, the longer you take to make a decision, the harder the situation gets. Not really gets hard, but it's disheartening to our district. So after the 17th, this is the last time that I really want to discuss this. Either it's going to be a yay or a nay. And I'm just being for real, because this is what our problem has always been. We want to hold out, we want to do all things. We cannot continue to hold out and move forward. If you hold out too long, you're stuck back in the past. So I'm let the record show, after the 17th, when we have this meeting, I hope that we don't have to have this discussion again.
Thank you, trustee Smith.
Just from my understanding, is this going to be on the personnel report tomorrow or not?
That is correct. This item 4 and 5 will still be on the personnel report.
Will still be on, okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I want to go back to, I think we jumped off. I heard a response. It's very difficult to hear the speaker. Back to items 13 and 14 on page 9.
For what page?
Page 9.
The coaches.
Oh, the coaches.
What I had stated is Coach Gordon had to let go of a coach, and in order to position the coaches, he had to rearrange their titles.
So they were already in
Why did it
positions.
take-
They were in positions, and he had to let one go.
Why did this take so long?
That's a good question. I got word of it last week, I think last Wednesday. He created the memo and submitted it, and here we are.
Here I'm looking at, this was originally submitted fall of 2024. So we've gone through, it's what, five months of basketball now? I don't know when that person was let go.
Trustee,
So I think that's the other question I have is are these positions going to be prorated for that time? And where did the moves come? Was the person that got let go, was that person the first assistant basketball coach?
Trustee Gomez, this has came to light when vouchers were turned into my payroll department to pay. So for the coaches, they did do a move in their coaches, but only way that they can get paid for the positions that's listed here on your personnel report is that we have to have board approval. So yes, it is going to be prorated because I do believe the two people that's here were on the coaching team, but they moved to different positions. So their rate will go, half of their rate will be for their old position, the other half of their rate will be for their new position. And I cannot give you the certain date of when the first assistant was let go. It vagues my memory right now.
Why are we getting this now?
Because the vouchers were turned in for payment. And my payroll department do not pay any vouchers without board approval.
And you should know that.
But my point is that we knew this, or at least someone knew this.
Like I said, I'm vague on remembering when that first assistant was let go. So that's the reason why it ended back up on the personnel report. But yes, these two individuals probably were on the original one back in probably July, I want to say. And they had approved at different positions.
I have an issue with, you know, acting retroactively, you know, it's,
It's not
it was clear
retro.
that,
It's not retro. We were not retroactive them two positions back. So they were originally on the coaching team. So their positions that they worked the first half before being moved to this position, they will get prorated stipend. And then the stipend, the second stipend will be the rest of the prorated for this position that we're approving. So everything is prorated. They will not get two stipends and they will not get the whole season.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that we knew this. We knew this and we waited till after the basketball season was over. State finals are over. And we're just now dealing with this.
Okay.
Ms. Simmons, typically when are vouchers turned into the payroll office?
Winter vouchers are turned in at the end of the season. That's when we get our vouchers. We don't pay any vouchers before the season has been completed, and that's at all tournaments and all. And also, it goes by the schedule, the actual high school schedule, whatever, IHSAA, I call it now. So once the season is over is when we get all the vouchers for anybody. And that's when it came to light that we had moved them to different positions.
I understand. I used to be a coach. I understand how the payment goes. I'm still at the point where the board is being notified of this after the fact. Had this come up at the time of the termination of the other employee, that would be one story. And I could accept that, you know, but here we are, again, we're acting retroactively. Call the payment whatever you want to call it. And I understand and I appreciate that you're talking about it, both positions being prorated. So let me ask this other question then. When everybody got moved up, did somebody get slotted into that bottom position?
Are you referring that I hire someone else for that bottom position? If we
My
did,
question was that position then posted?
you referring to the position where the coach was terminated?
Yes. If there was a coach that was terminated,
No,
And
we were in the middle
all the
of,
other coaches-
we were firing the season. No, we did not repost that position. Because we had the next two coaches also working at that time to move up to the position. So actually, we're saving money because we're still not paying for a coach.
okay, that was my question. Thank you.
That staffing action happened approximately the first week in February. And to my knowledge, we have not posted or hired on any personnel report.
Okay. Just one more question. Anybody else got any questions here? Since I don't think you all have the new, oh, wait a minute, you might have it on your computer. I'm the one that gets the paper. So, let's see here. Let's see here. Just want to point out, what page was that on with that Shannon West? It should go on page 4. Yes, on page 4. I'm quite sure that Dr. Bernay gave you guys an update, but since I have it here, the location, now this individual, since they have been reinstated, They will be working now at Central High School. Yeah. I just, that's, okay. Okay,
So,
go ahead, trustee Taylor.
just want to make sure that I'm not out of line.
No, go ahead.
So since the location has been moved, does everything follow to that location? And does the same type of professional development applies then in that new location?
Yes, so everything follows the employee. And then any other professional development or training will still be offered that employee if applicable.
But it's my understanding they didn't need no training. They didn't need any training.
They don't need any
No,
training?
That's my understanding today. And reason being is because they're gonna be working with one person. Right, Dr. Bonet?
Correct. Any other items for 6.01, personnel report? 6.02, approval of contract agreement between ECC Career and Technical Education, and specifically, the contractor will be Michelle Koenig. I'll give a very brief synopsis. Michelle Koenig is a retired CTE teacher who comes back every year and trains our students in CPR. It is a one-day session that we pay her for, and this has been a ongoing practice. Questions regarding 6.02?
So there's a CPR training?
Yeah,
CPR
that does that
for our students.
For the students.
It's just the training, or they actually get like?
They get the certificate at the end of the day.
That she comes every year?
Correct. I believe she comes at each semester, depending upon the students.
They should go to Central, right?
Central.
Oh, I see it over here now, okay.
Okay. Any other questions for 6.02?
I did a question, and that's, a couple questions here, actually, on compensation. They're under W-9. Why would they not be under 1099?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, they're under a W-9 on the compensation. Why would they not be under 1099?
A W-9 is only their taxpayer number.
That's it.
That's what the W-9 is. The actual,
I got it.
the actual 1099 will be produced at the beginning of next year, which is their actual tax filing paperwork.
Okay. And then, I thought we had one of our staffers who's, a former firefighter. And I was under the assumption that somebody like that would do that as part of the C3 program.
Are you asking, could one of our existing staff members also provide the training certificate?
Yeah, I may be just operating off some hearsay. That I thought I recall somebody saying that one of our CTE instructors is teaching, I believe, fire science.
Yeah, so we have two staff members. One that you are referring to, one of our CTE teachers who does fire science. But we also have staff members, and obviously, yes, they should be able to do CPR. But the district is always exploring other options to provide CPR certification. And so we'll continue to evaluate this existing option and make recommendations.
Yeah, because I know we had another vendor came in and he's regularly done the CPR training for our teachers.
So
Oh, yeah, so the student certification is different from the staff, and we actually do have a different vendor for staff CPR.
Okay.
Oh, it's coming out of a Perkins grant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Questions for 6.02 before we move to 6.03? 6.03 is the approval of the East Chicago Park and Recreation's request to use our parking lots. What they have done is submitted a list of all the dates and parking lots they want to use for the remainder of the 2025 school year, so from now until December.
It's all our reports right there.
Yes. Questions regarding item 6.03?
No questions for me.
Item 6.04 is the approval of a MOU with Practice Plan. Practice Plan is a new vendor. Ms. Simmons will answer questions of the
I'm
board.
sorry, Dr. Bornay, can we go back?
Oh, sorry, yes.
I just was curious on the parking lots
Yes,
usage. Where it says Washington Administration, does that mean Washington Elementary or the administration building?
that means the admin building,
But they're gonna have barbecue here.
Parking lot.
yes.
And the purpose of it is for transportation or,
No, they're just using the parking lot. These are just parking lot usage.
okay. Okay, okay, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Simmons, Practice Plan.
So Practice Plan is actually a software that we can list all our venues in the software, and anyone can go on if they want to rent it. We would list the venue, we would list the square footage, we'll list the dollar amount that we want to rent it for. So it was started Practice Plan. We will no longer go through administration. Tykia and Ms. Jessica at the AD department will be overseeing it. So they go in, they'll book and rent, pay everything right there within the software. And then we'll, filter it down, get it approved, and then we're all done. So we're no longer in the dark of if we have insurance or anything. Everything has to be uploaded in there before it is actually approved. And it's free.
Oh, thank you.
That part.
They charge a service fee. It's free. It's free on our end.
To the user?
To us. It's free to, it's free to us, but they charge the person that's renting
Yeah.
the fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so in paragraph 10, that's what they're describing, the transaction fee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I give a couple more comments while I have the floor? So there is a provision here that is a governing law provision that we need to change. It's Texas,
Texas, okay,
and it's paragraph 9.3.
okay. Need to change it to Indiana.
Yes,
Okay.
and there is also an auto renewal provision in here that we need to delete. Paragraph 6, term, it'll go from April 1, 2025 to March 31st, 26. Thereafter, the agreement will automatically be renewed on a yearly basis, so we can take that out too.
You said on 6?
Yes. And if you have this in Word, we can edit it for you, if you have it in Word, but if not,
I can download it. I can,
Okay.
translate from PDF to Word.
Okay.
Yes.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Harris. Other questions from the board for practice plan?
Does it have reporting features?
Yes. We can see how many times it's been rented and all. We have total details in there.
Nice.
It'll tell you. And it's very easy to use. Very easy.
The next agenda items all have to do with business and operations, so Ms. Simmons will remain at the podium. Item 6.05, the approval of the Pangier Corporation bid. Ms. Simmons.
Pangier Corporation put in a bid for our restroom remodel at Central High School. That actually, they were the only one to put in a bid for that one. So we're moving forward with Pangier. We also have worked with Pangier. They did install the 2 HVAC systems at McKinley and Harrison.
So was they on that bond report? These people here?
No, yeah, no companies were on the bond report. I had to go out for bid.
That's right, the project was on there, okay.
Yeah, oh, yes, the bathroom project
Yeah,
was
they
on
was
there.
on that, right,
Oh,
okay, that
yes.
makes sense, okay.
Other questions for item 6.05?
Here, Joe.
I just have a recommendation. So when we have bids like this and we only get one response, I think it's a good practice for us to have as part of the overview at the regular board meeting what the engineer's estimate is, so that you know whether the sole bid that you got is within budget or not, and it gives you some context, so you know if that's a good number, if it's a bad number, because you have a couple of options. It's not just approve or disapprove. You could instruct the staff to go back out to bid again and get more bids because you don't like the number. And normally the engineer's estimate gives you an idea of, hey, we budgeted for this, we thought it would come in at this cost, and while we only got one bid, it is competitive because it's 20% lower than what our engineer's estimate was.
So you saying that if we don't like it, but we don't ever see the numbers?
Well, that's what is being presented to you is Pangier's, their bid.
Okay.
So that's when you would receive it. What I'm saying is, you don't know whether that's a good number or not.
Right, because
So in order
nobody
for
else-
you to determine that, I think part of that overview when you get it, which I think you could still get for the board meeting, is what, if we have one, what was the engineer's estimate? And then it lets you know, oh, this is a good number. It's 10% below what we estimated.
What engineer estimate? We did not get an engineer estimate on the bathrooms. Are you referring to like an assessment done?
No, so, and it doesn't have to be on this one, but in general, when we procure for projects like this, we should have an estimate of what we think this will cost so that you have something in the budget. So if you recognize that you've got certain work that needs to be done, we've got in the budget, we're gonna spend $1 million on these 3 projects. So you're estimating, whether it's an engineer's estimate or just a financial estimate,
Okay.
this is what we thought it would come in at. When you only have one bid, it lets you know if the number's competitive. And in Indiana, the whole purpose of procurement is to make sure that the process is competitive and that the number's competitive. So the board member's job is to be good stewards of the money, and the only way for you to know that is have some context for these numbers. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of numbers and you don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
So that's why I'm just giving that recommendation. It's a quick fix. If you have an estimate, then you can compare the sole bid to the estimate and know that's a high number, it's a low number.
This will be discussed in 6.8.
Oh,
Yeah, that's coming up, 6.8.
Alrighty. Next.
But before we go, I did have a question, or not a question, but more of a comment. The final page there, the last paragraph, talks about, air quality. And, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I know that we had all attended that, seminar, and, you know, I NSBA luncheon where they talked about air quality and opportunities for, excuse me, for some funding. Maybe as, I guess I just want to make comment that as we move forward and we're making improvements to schools and we address indoor air quality, let's not lose sight of that opportunity through the NSBA program that they had shared with us at that luncheon.
At the Go Green. That's the Go Green.
That was it. Thank you.
Is that the Go Green?
Yes.
That he's talking about, yeah, you know, that me, Gonzalez, and
So-
Trina's working on that.
We are going to be applying for that grant for indoor air quality. But we know that a number of our projects, specifically later on, you hear about the HVAC work at Central, as well will also be impacted by air quality. We'll address some air quality challenges that we've been experiencing.
And I wanted to add, I know Attorney Harris has been kind of working to get us some data from the confined disposal facility too, so we should monitor that as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Is that a response? Go ahead, Ms. Simmons.
I'm not for sure, what is disposal facility? Okay,
The confined disposal facility.
okay. I'll talk to Attorney Harris after the meeting.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions for 6.05? We will go with 6.06. The approval of the Valdez Architectural Engineer bid.
So 6.06 is the HVAC unit at, the air handler at Central High School. This engineering company is coming in to assess totally, actually, they're, all engineering companies had the opportunity to walk Central High School and Kerry Gosh. And they have their assessments already started. I did receive 2 bids for this one, and it was Valdez and also Whiteman. Valdez, is the HVAC company that we chose for this.
This one here, oh, you had 2 people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry,
Valdez.
Vallis.
What is this, 6?
Vallis.
So you say you had 2 people that bid it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, these jobs here are coming out of the bond.
Yes,
dollars,
correct,
right?
correct.
So, like Mr. Harris was saying, can we get a copy of the first bid that was proposed, or,
That's it.
I mean, the one that,
The other one that's with it, yes, actually, you do have a copy of it. They got awarded another position, no, they did not get awarded the HVAC.
you said what is?
You do have a copy of the second bid. It's from the next vendor, I do believe it's on here.
These?
Oh, no, not Huntington,
These are all the 3 bids right here.
yes,
Right.
Yes.
Okay, these, okay.
yeah. So the next person that bid it on Central was Whitman,
Was Whitman,
yes.
okay.
And they are 6.8.
Whitman is listed as agenda item 6.08. Before 6.08 is 6.07,
Yes, let's go.
which
with
is
that.
the Hutton and Hutton Architectural Engineer bid. But before we move on, is there any other questions regarding the Valdez Architectural Engineer bid?
We still on 6.16?
6.6.
Yeah, okay.
Could you confirm
Oh, we got some more bid, okay, I got,
the lump sum amount?
yes.
Because there's it's 198,
$168,000 for their services to oversee the project.
for Valdez?
Yes,
You said 168?
Yeah,
I think
she got it
isn't it
highlighted.
168?
Page 3?
She got it highlighted.
I don't
if I'm
have
not
it.
mistaken.
Oh,
I think
yeah, it's highlighted, but
Right. Ain't
it's
that
not
it?
168.
Oh, there's 198.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that 198,000 or, because there's a comma after the 700, so I don't know if we got numbers cut off or is that supposed to be a period?
Probably a typo.
198,000.
198,700, okay. To be invoiced on a monthly.
Yes. Just like we did with Schmidt and Associates.
I mean.
Well, we ain't got to the other ones yet.
No, we're going through them one by one.
One by
One by one.
Right.
I have physical books in my office. Y'all have copies of it. I have physical books, and I also can get more books from the vendor if needed.
Can we? You-
Well, you only got to one. The other one we ain't came to yet. We finna get to that one now.
We got two more to go.
Yes, question for so we are moving to 6.07.
Yeah.
The Hutton and Hutton Architectural Engineer Bid. Questions regarding that one?
Huntington and Hunting, we found out through, actually, if you look at their website, you would notice that School City of East Chicago is on their website. So back when I got here in 17, we were under construction with blocks, front entrance. They were the original designers of that. But at some point, they got removed from the actual project prior facilities director. That project does not look like what they actually have their drawings on their website, which is beautiful. They also have one more drawing on their website, which is from Central High School, outside of the gym area. And I'm not for sure if I don't think I gave you that one. No, I know I didn't. So, they had all of the digital drawings for the district totally. So they come in and I asked them to work on Central. First thing I asked them to work on in Central is the 80, help me out, ADA, yes, compliance for the gym, which is the elevator, or I wanted a ramp to run from the back stairs so that we have access from the back doors. The ramp would have cost more than the elevator. The actual bid that you have in your hand is for the pool area and the back stairwell of the actual Central High School. So it's dealing with the structure of Central High School. So one of the pictures was an indication to the vendor that we were having actual pool issues inside. So if you see the whiteness on that picture, that is humidity and coming out of the building. So I chose to pick to complete the pool area and the structure before going in and putting the elevator in the gym. I feel like this was more important to the kids to get into. Yes, we do need something for medical reasons in the gym, but right now, Central is our only functioning pool. I need to make sure we service that one to continue to work. And then also with like I said, the structures out there where the bricks are all cracked, the stairwells are pretty well done. We haven't used those stairwells in years, not since I've been here anyway.
So, you recommend,
Yes, I do. It is a company that has worked with the district before.
Yeah, we don't have a,
okay, so I just want to say, this bid came from Mr. McGrath, Director of Facilities.
No, it did not.
why is his name on it?
Okay.
That's another whole subject.
Well, then it don't need to be on that end.
No, it does not.
Right, that's right.
It does not need to be on there.
So in order for this to get.
It needs to have Leila Simmons' name on it or Charmaine Trout. Okay.
And this, until that happens, then we'll
He
take.
can he, actually, all four of these vendors will be in the audience tomorrow. That can be reprinted without Mr. Paul's name on it.
You say what now, again?
They will be in the audience tomorrow. I asked all my vendors.
Gonna be here tomorrow for the board meeting?
Yes, I asked all my vendors in case y'all have questions. I can only answer financial questions. I can't answer mechanical. Y'all know I cover all bases, so.
No, this,
Matter of fact, Mr. Vallis was here tonight, but
oh,
he
he
left.
was,
Yes,
so
that's
he
what
had
it was.
little Angry sitting in the chair.
Hudson will be here tomorrow.
Yes,
They'll be good.
So this whole,
But, yeah, we still, I want this.
yes,
law.
I will
Yes,
have those changed first thing in the morning.
Yes.
No, I will
yes.
have those changed first thing tonight.
Yeah,
Okay,
We
thank
can
you.
move, yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, trustee Smith.
thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
If there are no other questions for item 6.07, we'll move to 6.08, the Whiteman Architectural Engineering bid.
So Whiteman Architectural Engineering bid. So they bidded on completing the HVAC and the chiller at Kerry Gosh. But they also did a presentation for my department where they actually do assessments for over a 5 to 10 year period of all buildings. So what they would do is go in and analyze all of our buildings, from the basement to the roof to the walls, everything. So they will have a full assessment of anything that needs to be done to any building in this district. So it will take at least 5 months to complete it, with them coming in and out of the buildings. But at the end of the 5 months, we will be able to use it as a Bible when our capital projects come up for the next year.
So, go ahead, trustee Smith.
Madam President,
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
haven't I been asking for this procurement for how many years?
That's the reason I'm completing it. We all need it, because at the end of the day, we also need to know any more capital projects we need to do. And right now, we only are on a basis of if it breaks, then we say, okay, now we need a capital project. They would do everything within the buildings, the stairwells, the walls, the roofs, the playgrounds, the grounds, the landscaping, everything will be in their assessment totally for the district.
I appreciate that because this is something that you and I have been talking about for the last 6 years. Thank you. 6 years later.
Uh-huh. Where are they, okay, where are these people from?
My salesman I talked to is out of Portage, Indiana.
The salesman, but where the company at?
Portage,
They in
Indiana.
Portage too?
Yeah, they work in Portage, I'm sorry, they work in Indiana, Michigan, and Minnesota.
Okay.
They just did a total assessment on all of the Detroit public schools. I mean, it was, yeah, down to the wiring of the building.
If there are no other questions regarding 6.08, we will move to 6.09. Approval to use Kerry Gosh Gym and hallways for the Autism Walk. Questions from the board? This is Saturday, April 26th. In case there is inclement weather, the Autism Walk would take place inside Kerry Gosh Gym.
Okay, just to make sure.
But it is scheduled to be outside.
Yes.
Any other questions for 6.09? 6.10, approval to use Harrison Elementary parking lot from St. Mary's. And this request is only to use the parking lot for Easter weekend.
You said,
Ms. Simmons, do we have an MOU with St. Mary's?
No, we do not. St. Mary's normally will fill out the request of your sheet. Yes, we do not have an MOU with St. Mary's.
And we normally don't.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is a normal request, and
Okay.
we normally do it just with the
I just know that
application.
they use it, that's why I just,
Yep, yep, we normally do it this way.
right. Thank you.
If there aren't any other questions on 6.10, 6.11 is the approval of technology restructure. I'm going to ask Ms. Ontiveros, our Director of Instructional Technology, to come to address any questions the board may have.
Okay, good evening, sorry. The way we're looking at it here, we had two vacancies, higher management vacancies that we consolidated to lower-level technicians. The consensus was principals wanted technicians out on the field at their buildings as opposed to having, managers at central. So that's what we did. We didn't fill these positions, we didn't rehire the same management. We hired lower-level technicians for the buildings. So in that aspect, we cut cost for those two vacancies. So within those vacancies, the extra money that we had, we were able to at least, our technicians were getting paid less than $15 an hour. And during the summer, our summer interns were getting paid more. So there was a kind of a discrepancy. With this cost savings, we were able to at least manage them to a more livable wage for those service technicians that have been here, or those positions have been here over 10 years, and we've never done anything with those positions. And since it's a technology position, things always change, right? So we have not looked at those positions in over 10 years. So we were able to add additional duties for that compensation. Again, from that cost savings from those management positions.
This is the job description that's attached?
Yes, the ones that are in yellow, those are the additional job duties for that compensation, yeah. So without the yellow, those were the original job descriptions. There was some description in there where it didn't read anything about getting on ladders or going in ceilings, and we had some discussions where some of the technicians at one time, it's like, hey, it's not in my job description, I can't pull cable or whatever. But again, it was a 10-year-old job description, so we were able to update that.
Other questions regarding item 6.11, approval of technology restructure? We move to item 6.12, approval of continued technology restructure, specifically to phone technician.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing where these job descriptions are pretty old, so we needed to update them. And there was some compensation for it, not as much as the other positions, but there was still some compensation there, again, within the savings of those two management positions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ontiveros?
I just have a question, as why they're separated.
Computer technicians and phone technicians are two different positions.
I mean, for the board's purpose, why it's separated.
Oh,
Right. Because we have two. And I had some conversation with Dr. Bonet earlier. These positions was posted.
correct. Well, the computer technicians are posted. The phone technician is already here. So
this is the
this is
individual.
just adding more job duties to that
To this
position.
individual.
That individual, yeah, we've had this individual for over 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, but I said you're adding more job.
More job duties
To him, right.
to him, correct. Or to the job.
To the, okay, yeah, to the job, okay. Well,
So,
I'm glad-
and my comment is, I understand why it's separated for their
But for
department,
us.
and why it's, but for you,
It's just
it's
one.
all a technology restructure, it really could just be one agenda. That's up to you.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that we have something before we have something to show that you're asking for individuals to have an increase, and you're giving us the duties, because before, we never get this, we just always get nothing. Nothing do we ever get.
Yeah,
And
it-
then we always get something to say that these individuals did this. So I'm glad
Correct.
to see, I hope that we continue on with this, because this way, we can approve this. We always approve something that we never got.
After the fact.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I totally
We
understand.
do, and that's real bad business. So I'm glad to see that you have this to show what you're trying to do with these individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Okay.
And that concludes all new business items.
Okay, any questions from the board before we close? I have one thing that I want to ask, about the personnel report. If Dr. Bonet, if you can give the board where you said that we had approved these salaries, we can move forward, we want to move forward, okay? And this is something that, that's been in front of us, so we want to move forward. But if you can bring that before tomorrow, where the board approve this, as well as where we had approved salary for who's the SEL individual?
Mr. Franklin,
When we approved that as well, when did we approve,
January 28th.
no, we needed to see it with the personnel report.
Yes.
We don't need you, we, in order for us to prove it, it should have been on a personnel report. That's what I'm asking for, the personnel report. To show, if we've already approved it, then it make no sense to prove it again, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Oh, yeah, one more thing, we didn't go over this. Did we go over this right here? I didn't see this. This-
It's not agenda.
Oh, it's not on the agenda. Well, all right then. Oh, yeah, you're right, this is something, okay. Okay, then, you got something to say, Trustee Smith?
Some of the stuff I didn't have
What's that?
in my board packet.
Oh, you got paper?
I had paper, but I do
Well, this will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming. Tomorrow, we will have our